So, Python modules. Well, that is a typical name that is used out in the community. That you load a Python module with the import command in Python, and with that you include many functions that you can get used of. But we call it Python packages here, not to confuse with the module system that we have on the APC clusters. So Python packages broaden the use of Python to almost infinity. So instead of writing code yourself, there may be others that have done the same. And many scientific tools are distributed as Python packages, making it possible to run a script in the prompt and then define files to be analyzed and arguments defining exactly what to do. So many of our bioinfo tools, for instance, they are based on Python. So then you run this tool, basically. And it contains specific Python packages, basically. There is a nice introduction to packages found here, Python for Scientific Computing, which looks something like this. So it's about dependency management, basically, and so on. So how do I find which packages and versions are available? Oh.
I lost sound.
Pardon?
Oh, the sound disappeared for me.
Yes, I have to sneeze, but it was no sneeze. Okay. So how do I find which packages and versions are available, and what to do if I need other packages, and are there differences between HPC2N and UPPMAX? So we'll show now how to check for Python packages and how to install own packages on the different clusters. So there are two package installation systems. One is PyPI, where we use a command called pip. This is traditionally for Python-only packages, but it is no problem to also distribute packages written in other languages, as long as they provide a Python interface, I could say. Then there is something called Conda. This is more general, and while it contains many Python packages and packages with a Python interface, which is often used also to distribute packages which do not contain any Python. It could be C or C++ packages, for instance. Conda works in a little bit different way. We'll come back to that. It creates its own environment, basically, that does not interact with other Python installations. And yes, as noted in the Q&A document, Conda is not recommended, and we do not support it there. Many libraries and tools, packages, they are distributed in both ecosystems. So you could both use Conda to install or PyPI. So the first step is to check what is already there at the classes. So what is general for both class centers is that some Python packages are working as standalone tools, and that they might be already installed as a module. So you can do this module spider, toName or toName part, and then you may find the one that you are interested in. So if I at the UPPMAX now, module spider Python. Yes. We have all the Python packages, but also IPython, PyPython, so on. Okay. I can do also like star. Yeah, maybe this one. We just copy this one. Yeah. Okay. The CDF for Python, that's something. Yes, and some other things. PySam. And yeah, so on. So you might find what you're interested in. It could contain the Python name, but it could also be something else that you know of. Yes. So one can check the pre-installed packages in a specific Python module. So we can do a module help, or as I write it, ML help, that will work as well. Python, and let's check what we have in the 395. So here we have many packages that are included. So we see the Jupyter, for instance, matplotlib, and lots of other things. Virtual env that we will use later on today. At HPC2N, one can do like this instead. Yeah, what can happen here is at the HPC2N, be aware that the output of this will not just be Python packages. Some will be programs that are compiled with Python. So yeah, you should need to check the list carefully, what it is. You can also check the pre-installed packages of a loaded Python module. So let's see now, module, we have the 395. I can try to module load the Python, the last version, which was 3.10.8. I can do a pip list. So remember now, PyPI, there's a command called pip, and then you can do package related things. So pip list will basically list all the packages available. And this should be the same output as you would get from the module help. But it's not always the case, because we might have done an update of packages in the Python module, and we have not changed in the help file. But if you do a pip list, you will be certain. So a pip list will actually list what is there, actually. You see the versions here as well. You could also do like this. So you start the Python session, and you could try to import what you need. So matplotlib, for instance. And there was no error, so this works. what if I try to import X array? Yes, module not found. So that is also a way to actually spot which packages are missing. So does it work? Then it's there. Otherwise, you can either use pip or conda to install something new. Yes, so we have noted this already. It's specific things at the HPC2N that we need to do. Yes. There is a selection of the Python packages and libraries installed on UPPMAX and HPC that are given in Excel reading. So if you push here, you can see some of the packages and also the ones that can be loaded with module load. Oh no, okay. There is some formatting error. But for instance, we have the Python ML packages, and there we have TensorFlow, PyTorch, and sklearn. We also now, from yesterday, have a Python GIS package module that have packages related to graphical information system things regarding maps and such things, calculating areas and so. And yeah, some other things here. Included in the bioinfo tools, we have, for instance, BioPython, BWA, HiChipper, Homer, for instance. And for HPC2N, yeah, we have also a link here, Kebede-Kaiser cluster. But here you have some information of what's there. Yeah, so maybe someone can answer the basic difference between packages and modules in the shared document, please. So if we want to install it with pip, you could do it in this way, but as I will say, we recommend that you install your packages in an isolated environment. But yeah, more about this. But there's basic command which can be used also inside an isolated environment is this pip install, and then you use the -- user and then the package name. Because if you remove the user, then it will try to install in a central installation. So basically install it into the Python module. And you as user, you have no rights to, yes, this is right protected, so you won't be able to install there. But with doing this -- user, you will install it in your own site packages, which by default is in your home directory, that is this tilde. Then in .local and lib and Python version. If you're using, for instance, 387, this will be Python 3.8. So I can just show you if I have done something like this. So let's go into .local. Okay, I should be in my own directory. There is a lib, and there we have, yes, Python 3.10 and Python 3.9. So that tells me that I have done some local installations for Python 3.9 and 3.10. Yes. So this is the default. One could change this. I won't go through how to do this right now. You can move this to your project folder so that you don't fill up too much space in your home folder. Yes. But as noted, we recommend that you always install with pip in an isolated environment unless you think that the package will be useful for all your projects. Sorry for the misspelling here. All your projects. Because what you do then is that as soon as you load the Python 3.9, for instance, Python will understand that you have the packages that you installed locally. And that might be fine, but if you want to use different versions of different packages for different projects, then this won't do so well. So it might be better to use isolated environments. But it is up to you and how you want to arrange your work, basically. Yes. One frequently asked question is when to use pip install and when to use module load command. And well, check if package is available in the Python module or a site install module first. If not, then use pip and install yourself. Yes, and all about this in the next session. How to use the virtual environments. So some key points. You can check for packages from the Python shell itself with the import command. You can also use IPython or Jupyter Notebook or Jupyter Lab and work in the Python shell there. From the bash command line, you can do the pip list if you have the actual Python version loaded. You can also, without load module, do this module help, Python 3.9.5. And then you can actually check between different Python versions and see what is installed in 3.9.5 or in 3.10 or in 3.8. So maybe find out which Python version is the best one for you to use. Because it could be due to reproducibility, that you have some code from a colleague that was written in Python 3.7 and with some packages related to that version. And that will mean that you would like to use this Python 3.7 module for this case. And then maybe just install some packages that was not included. So that you get the same environment as your colleague had at that time. But as we will see, for reproducibility, it could be good to use virtual environments to share your Python packages that you have used. So if you are working with a project in your research and then want others to be able to run your scripts as well, then it's good to actually note what versions were used. And so yes. So installation of Python packages can be done either with PyPI, Conda, and you install own packages with pip install command. This is the recommended way on HPC2N. At UPPMAX also Conda is available, so that is what we are going to look at now. So for this session, there was no exercise for the pip because we want you to use the virtual environment. So you will try this pip installation after the, in a while, basically. So let's continue. Conda. Let's look at the pros and cons with Conda and learn how to install packages and work with the Conda environment, which is isolated, that we will come back to. On Bianca, there we have no internet. Conda is the first choice when installing packages because there is a local mirror on the most or most of the Conda repositories. So you can check on the Bianca cluster extra reading for more info. You can actually click this one so that you are a little bit acquainted. So here is some info about Bianca. And okay, sorry for the links here, but here we have, we will actually give a Bianca course in 3 weeks, sorry. It will be the Wednesday 14th of June that we will be talking about how to use Bianca. And one session that is how to install with Conda and how to install with pip. And the basic thing is that you first install on Rackham then. And then you sync to what we call the wharf, and then you can reach the files from the wharf from Bianca. And yes, so there are some, yes, there are more info about this. So you can read this if you are working on Bianca, and even better, you can join our course or workshop that is this day, Wednesday the 14th. We have advertised it in the NICE letter and also in the UPPMAX letter, I think. Okay, so we leave this for now. Here's a sheet for Conda. If one have a present environment of Conda, you can list what is there, what packages. So this is basically the same as this pip list, but for the Conda environment. You can have several environments, which you can list by these commands. You can install with this command. You can install for a certain channel, like with this -c, for instance, Conda Forge. And here we have some of the channels. We have BioConda, Conda Forge, a main one, some that are related to R, and some other things. SciLife Lab also we have. So these channels are, so what is those packages that are in there, they will be also available directly on Bianca, where we don't have any internet connection. So this is very handy. But sometimes you might have to use Conda as well on Rackham, and that is when the tools or packages that you need are not distributed with PyPI. So let's look through how we can use Conda on UPPMAX. So some of you might have done this before, and maybe you have actually thought about that we have a module which is called Conda. Instead, you might have installed your own mini Conda version and run that one locally. That could work, but by using the Conda from the module system, that may be better in some cases because you can activate it, or you can unload the module so that you are not having any Conda in the background. Because we have seen that having Conda might make some clashes with other Python installations. So that's the reason why Conda is not used on HPC2N. So it's good to be a little bit careful of what you do and what you actually do in your bash RC script. Yeah, so if you have some questions about this, please use the Q&A document. Meanwhile, I will maybe answer some of these questions posed by you anyway from the lecture material here. So first load our Conda module. So I will do this. I do a module load. Oh, sorry. Conda. Yes, and here we have some very interesting things. So lmod, that is our module system, has detected the following error. Cannot load module Conda because these modules are loaded Python. So we don't want to use the Python together with Conda because that may pose some hard tracked errors. So I will unload the Python and try again, module load Conda. And now we have some information. And I stated here, basically, so it's a little bit easier to read. So the variable Conda ends path contains the location of your environment. Set it to your project's environment folder if you have one. So I will check if I already have this one. So I do an echo. And yes, so this is empty. So right now I actually have it in my local folder here. And I will keep it that way for this session. Otherwise, you can actually change it by export Conda ends. Well, I can actually do that so that you can follow. So let's do this. And let's see here. I will copy paste our project folder. So I am on UPPMAX. So we have the storage area. I will copy this. Project nice 2023. And okay, I should have done something that you have already done, and that is to, okay. I go to this folder. I will make a directory for me. Is it there? Yes. I go into that folder. I just note which directory I am in. I will copy this one. And I will do this export from the infs path equals this one. And I will make it conda enus. I hope this works. I will not do this, or I can do this, but there are some problems. So this command will add stuff to your shell outside the scope of the module system, which could create some clashes. Okay, so I won't do it, but if you want to test this, you can do it. Yes, so this is basically what I did. So that means that you could have a conda environment for each of your project, for instance. So if you have several ones where you use a little bit different packages, then you can have a conda environment in each of your project, which differ depending on what you want to do. Yes, this is by choice. Yes, this is basically this one. That is to be able to run conda activate instead of the source activate. But yeah, source activate is not a big deal, so I will stick with this in this session. So when conda is loaded, you will be by default be in the base environment, which works in the same way as other conda environments. Include a Python installation and some core system libraries and dependencies of conda. Yes, so best practice is to avoid installing additional packages compared to the base. Yes. So let's continue. I will try to do this conda create. So now I just copy this one. And okay, here I spotted something that I didn't change. That is this extra $sign, which should be taken away. Otherwise we can't run. So there might be some other places where the basic copy pasting does not work. But try to make it, yes, just copy what's needed. Okay, so what I do now is that I create a Python environment called Python 36env. This is the name of the environment. I want to install the NumPy of this version and also matplotlib of the 222 version. I could also use this. This is a faster way. Maybe I can do this instead. Okay, this, well, this will be faster anyway. But so if you want, you can run this instead, but then you have Python 3.7 instead, and some newer NumPy versions. Okay, so this will work in the background. It will solve the environment and some dependencies, which may take some time. Actually, I will actually interrupt this with Control-C and run this one instead. At least we see what happens a little bit faster. So yeah, let's see. meanwhile this is working in the background, I will say that what you do then, when you have done this creation and installation of the packages, you can activate your environment. Okay, it's already done. So Mamba was a little bit faster, I guess. So now I will actually try to do this conda activate, because that is what all the new tutorials tells you to do. So many of you might try this, and remember now that I installed the Python 37 instead. Okay, so it tells you that I didn't do this conda init. So I will do the source activate instead. Did I call it something else? So I will do the conda env list. Why doesn't it work? What did I do? Okay, I will try this in background as well. Meanwhile, yes, if you do this source activate, you will see that your prompt is changing to start with Python 36 environment to show that you are within this environment. So when you have activated it, you can do your work. You can use the packages that you installed here and run as it should be run. When you're finished, you do this conda deactivate. Note here that source deactivate will not work, but conda deactivate should be used. So remember, if you did not do this initialization, you should use source activate. Okay, there is a question.
Yeah, Björn, like when you do this conda create a hyphen name, should we keep our username over here for the?
What do you mean by username?
Yeah, like you have this command conda create hyphen name Python 36, right? So this hyphen name should be our UPPMAX username, or it should be just name.
No. So okay, so you should really state this dash name, and then that means that what comes after this option is the name of your
package.
environment.
Okay. Yeah.
So the name will be Python 37 in this case.
37 case. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I could actually use another. I will use another user here. So just to make things start working, so module load conda, and I will do a conda env list, And now there should be some other, yes. So here we have the Python 36 environment, for instance. So let's try this. Source, activate, and unfortunately the tab will not work here. So I have to copy or write in total this one, Python 36. So now this works. So we are in the Python 36 environment. We can do a pip list actually as well, even though we are in a conda. No, I thought it would work. So conda list. Yes, so okay, this does not give you so much information, but you should be able to find some of the, yeah, we have the pip included. There should be, so I want to find NumPy, for instance. Here is NumPy and matplotlib. Yes, so we see it's a 222 version and 113.1. So that is basically the ones that we installed. And then there are some other things here as well that is needed. So one thing here important is that the conda is known to create many small files. And your disk space is not only limited in gigabytes, but also in number of files in your home folder, home directory. It's 300,000 there. And with conda, you easily get up to hundreds of thousand files quite fast. And the reason is that conda also install many small system files that would not, so it ignores actually what you already have installed in your computer system. So it basically installs everything, and conda just looks after things that are in the conda environment, nothing outside, meaning that you have to install everything basically. So that's the reason. So check your disk usage and quota limit with your quota. I can do this. And here you actually see here that in my user, I have actually 287,000 files out of 300,000. So I'm very close to the limit here. So I should do a conda clean and -A for all once in a while to remove unused and unnecessary files. So you don't have to be afraid that the files will vanish here that you need. So do this once in a while. Because it is quite often so that the users of our system, at UPPMAX at least, they come with the questions to us that things doesn't work anymore. It worked last week, everything worked last week, but now things doesn't work. And the reason for that could be that you just overtrust your number of files in your home folder. So you can't write new files or write to files. So that might be the reason. Some frequently asked questions. And that is about this conda activate and source activate. So that is basically what I have talked about. Yes. So conda activate and source activate will do the same. Basically. Instead of source, you can use the dot. It will not work always, it seems to, but if you are tired of typing source everywhere, you can use this dot, and please note this space of the dot, otherwise it won't work. Yes. You can create an environment based on the dependencies given in an environment file. And you may spot this in workshops or courses online. That there are already environments prepared for you that you can download, and then you can make a Conda environment based on these files. It could look something like this. So here we have the name of the environment, a channel, and the dependencies could be numpy, matplotlib, scipy. You can also state which versions you need, and then Conda will install these for you in this my environment environment. You can also create files from present Conda environments. So Conda export with this option from history, and then the output is stored in this YAML file. You can also create files from unactivated Conda environments. So you can state the name of the environment and then push it to your environment file. So that is one way to really easy share the Python environment with other people. For instance, in your research group, and for if you're ending your position and someone else should take over your work, then yes, these Conda environments is very good. And I think we are out of time for this session. So there is an exercise, but there will be exercise time in the afternoon after about 3 o'clock. You will have the opportunity to try this out. So this is an exercise for Conda environment. And the solution is here also, but please try to do this first. So I say it again, this only works for UPPMAX. Yes. And so the key points, Conda is an installer of packages, but also bigger toolkits. Conda creates isolated environments, not clashing with other installations of Python and other versions of packages. And that may contradict what I said before, because you don't want to have the Python module loaded in the background at the same time as you have the Conda. Well, the time is too short to answer these things, but you have to accept that Python module should not be used together with a Conda environment. Yes. The Conda environment requires that you install all the packages needed by yourself. So you have to install everything. So you can't rely on the packages already installed on UPPMAX. So if you use Conda and would like to add a package that is, for instance, X-array, you also have to install the numpy and all the other packages that you need. You can't rely on the Python module, basically. Yes, precisely.